And then people try to make it seem like you just want attention. They're like, look, your life is so good. Why would you want to kill yourself? Look how much you got going for you. It's like, nah, spiritual warfare is real. And the enemy, I mean, he knows how to get you to convince yourself that the best option is to take yourself out of here, and it's not true. I'm going to start with this. It's a little more serious, and then we're going to go to the fun stuff. But I want to talk about suicidal thoughts and how they're not as rare as people make it seem. Like, oh, you only have suicidal thoughts if you're suicidal, or you're depressed, or you just had a rough life. If you have suicidal thoughts, that just means you've been depressed, you've been sad, you've gone through something that has caused you to want to kill yourself. This is a different angle on it, because suicide ideation, or just there's a real place where people have been depressed, they have been sad, they have been going through pain, they have trauma in their past, they have guilt, they have shame. There's a lot of things that have, made them get to a place where they lost hope, or they just simply can't face tomorrow. So the only solution to them is, I need to kill myself, I need to off myself. And a lot of situations this year happened to me where I had to counsel people through situations where they weren't necessarily depressed. Something just happened that made them feel like they can't face the future. Something just happened that made them lose hope in the future. Or something just happened where they felt so much shame that it's crazy, like the only reasonable thing to them would be, I gotta just kill myself. I gotta just take myself out. You don't have to be any of those things, meaning going through something, to all of a sudden be attacked with these suicidal thoughts. And so, to make a long story short, I'm sitting here, I was at a desk with my grandma, at my grandma's house. I was just working. This is years ago, long time ago. I was really young, so I didn't really know much about, I would say, about my health, or about, what to do when you feel like something's wrong in your body. And I was someone who didn't necessarily have to schedule doctor's appointments for myself. And so, what I'm gonna get to, I just wanted to give a little backstory before I tell a story. Like, what the heck, Al? To make a long story short, I was chilling at my computer, and the enemy had just kind of just a thought just came into my mind. Like a random thought, like that I had this serious illness. When I was engaged with someone, sexually, the enemy attacked my mind to tell me that I contracted something. And it was just like, it just flooded me. And so I'm really I'm freaking out, and I'm scared. And I'm gonna keep it on 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the only way that this will be really impactful. The enemy had told me that I had contracted AIDS and HIV, and he just bombarded my mind, and I was freaking out. Like, what in the world? And it's crazy because he told me it was from this person. And so I'm thinking to myself, yo, if this is true, I'm bugging, and I'm freaking out, and this thought is just coming to me, it's just you have this now, you're gonna die, or you gotta tell your family, or you gotta tell people, or you gotta live with this. And I'm just yo, this is too much on my mind. This is too much on my mind. And I was in a situation where I tried to pray, and nothing happened. The thoughts didn't stop. I tried to worship God. I tried to walk around and worship and just sing, and and nothing changed. And I'm talking about, I really was struggling in my mind. So I thought maybe I should just go to sleep. And I couldn't go to sleep. I was too restless. And I'm just thinking to myself, yo, I might have to really I really might have to kill myself, because I can't face this. I really was freaking out. I was thinking to myself, yo, I had very, very, very little knowledge, and I was very ignorant about diseases, spreading diseases. I didn't know anything about that, so it was even worse, because I'm thinking, what if something happened where I gave something to somebody, or, something was spread through me. Like it was so many thoughts that was going through my mind. So I was just like, nah, like I can't face this. I just can't do it. I may have to really take myself out. And it sucks because how am I explaining this to my family and my people? So to make a long story short, God finally like got through to me. And I felt God speak to me. And I was very young, and I still knew that it was God. And he just placed on my heart, you know exactly what you need to do. That's it. And for me, that brought me comfort because God speaks to me through visuals, and the visual he showed me was just go to the doctor and get checked. Now, that's still a little terrifying for me because I'm like, nah, because what if it comes back to this is actually true? This thought that I've contracted something in my life is actually true. And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to just do it, but I'm still terrified. So I'm not talking to my mom. Me and my mom had to catch a train to go back home. I wasn't talking to my mom. I wasn't talking to anybody. And my mans had called me. And hearing his voice kind of made me feel a little lighter. I didn't tell him what was going on, but just talking to him made me feel lighter. And that's why it's so important that you have people that you can talk to and not stay to yourself. To make a long story short, I made my way to a doctor. I got tested. And she took me through this long journey, and she was freaking me out with all the cliffhangers, had me waiting for mad long. But to make a long story short, it came back that I was negative. But the moment I found out the truth, all that weight I was carrying lifted, like immediately. The moment I got truth to my situation, I just felt this peace that fell on me. And as crazy as it sounds, if I did not have the Holy Spirit to help me in my situation, and that could seem small to someone else, but for me, God getting through to me and telling me this is what you need to do, God was literally intervening. But I think about the people who not necessarily don't know how to hear God's voice, but don't even have a relationship with God enough to know his voice. Because God is speaking and he's intervening, but if that's real warfare that people are going through when they have suicidal thoughts. It's a real place. And you don't have to be depressed. You don't have to be going through something. All of a sudden you get this crazy thought and the enemy, he knows how to make his lies sound so true. And so when that happens, you really need to get the truth. You need to get the truth. And so there was a situation where I sat down with a young man who he was in a similar situation where he contracted something. He contracted STD, and he sat with me, and I was able to help him because I was there before, where he's feeling like I can't live anymore. I can't face this. And I said, I know when I was young, going through something like this, I just needed to know the truth. Now, my truth or my situation, my results came back negative. So I was grateful. But for him, it came back positive. But either way, there's truth that can bring comfort. And so what I did was what I know I need. I need the facts. Facts help me. And so one of the facts we went through is like, listen, bro, you still can have kids. Look at the facts. Statistics show this is not uncommon. A lot of people have this. They just don't talk about it. Number 3, I was telling him, you can still be engaged with his girl that's soon to be his wife. He can still be engaged with her, meaning sexually one day. And there are ways to protect both of them. Just looking at the facts, we went down some facts. I'm only sharing them because I know someone else could probably be blessed by this. There was another thing we talked about, just letting him know like there are medications that he could take to lessen symptoms and stuff like that. And then I asked him, I said, listen, I also know somebody that's close to me, near and dear to me that I believe, could really help you. They're really professional with this stuff. Do you mind if I call them? They don't know you. It'll stay completely confidential. He said, yeah. They walked into all this stuff. He got all the facts he needed, all the help he needed, and then even guidance on how to talk to certain people about it. And he felt safe. He felt the weight lifted off them. And the attack of you got to kill yourself went away because he had the truth. He had hard facts, and some of the truth he received brought him comfort. So in my situation, I thought the truth would bring me more pain, but God knew if you just go get tested, you'll see that these thoughts are not true. But in his case, even though it was positive, to someone that's like, that's the end all be all, they're done now because it's positive. No, there's still hope. You still have a beautiful life to live. There's still ways that you can implement things to have a healthier lifestyle, a healthy diet to protect you and your partner. And you can still have kids, and even what the enemy meant for evil or what looks like a negative report, God can still turn around for the good. You know what I'm saying? And so, to God be the glory for anybody that's struggling with suicidal thoughts, that's not depressed. That's not, quote unquote, experiencing like a horrible life per se. There's a lot of people who struggle with thoughts of suicide. And this is who that video is for. Those people who you may feel crazy that you're attacked so much. And then people who try to make it seem like you just want attention. They're like, look, your life is so good. Why would you want to kill yourself? Look how much you got going for you. It's like, nah, spiritual warfare is real. And the enemy, he knows how to get you to convince yourself that the best option is to take yourself out of here, and it's not true. But that's why we love Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. Even though God was speaking to a group of people, the principle remains. He really does have plans for us. And he has a plan that has hope. See, and so when you lose hope, it's easy to entertain suicidal thoughts. But just know with God, there's a great future. And I want to say this too before we close. God can heal people from STDs. That's a real thing. And that's not what this video is about. But just because we talked about that, I want anybody that watches to know that God is a healer. And there's no such thing as, but he can't heal this. Nobody preaches on that though. That God can heal you from sexually transmitted diseases. He sure can.